Hello everybody, Sean here, and today we're looking at the Sastasha dungeon. It's the very first dungeon that you will have to do in Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. It is mandatory as part of the level 15 quest. It does not matter what town you start in, it is mandatory for the main scenario. And before going in, the first thing you'll have to do is get a group of 4. Ideally you will want a tank, a DPS, and a mage or two of healers, or a mage healer and a nuker, one of the two. And then you're going to jump in here. Starting out, the dungeon will be pretty simple. You're going to run into groups of monsters, 1, 2, maybe 3 at a time. You're going to want to have, obviously, your tank. Try to control them as best as you can. At this level, it is totally understandable if you're going to have some enmity issues. Don't be surprised if the healers pull hate from you, or if your DPSs pull the enemies off you once in a while. But you do want to try your best to keep them controlled. If you're playing the Marauder, for instance, as you can see in the video, that is what I'm playing. The skills that you have at your disposal are not very good at group enmity, AoE enmity. You only have one skill at this level that can really do that for you. So again, don't be totally surprised if people are jumping around and you can't quite control them as best as you can. This dungeon is going to be very important that you have a good healer. But with that said, I'm going to jump ahead here a little bit just so we don't all have to watch me beat up bats, and we'll see you at the next big important event. So the next big hurdle you will face in this dungeon is going to be in the form of the fireflies up here. And you might be a little concerned when you first see them. There's going to be a lot of them, 3, 4, 5, sometimes even more. And they're going to be tied to the giant clams. So what you want to do is have your tank run in first, as you saw me do. Try to get enmity on all of the fireflies if you can. When you attack one, all the others will tend to be drawn towards you anyway, so this should not be an issue. But one of the main things to do here is you want to kill the clam very quickly. The longer you leave him, he tends to spawn fireflies over time if you wait too long, so just go in and kill him real quick. The fireflies are very weak. They do magical damage, but it's not a whole lot. They're a little lower level, as you can see, so kill the clam and then mop up any fireflies and continue on. If you do, you'll do this a few times. I believe one of the later on clams is protecting a treasure coffer, so you'll definitely want to open that up. But just don't be alarmed when you see that many fireflies. First time players in this dungeon might be very intimidated by that many enemies, but they are in fact very weak enemies. So kill them and continue on, and we'll see you a little later on in the video. So after the clams, you're going to encounter this kind of purple fog wall haze thing. Anytime you see one of these, this means you're transitioning into a boss area, so be prepared. Don't come in here if you are extremely weak. Upon interacting with the coral reefs there on the side, lever will spawn in the back area, and interacting with the lever spawns this giant coral. You will want to fight him, get your tank in there, try to get as much enmity as possible. It shouldn't be an issue because it's a single target. Whether you have a gladiator or a marauder tanking for you, they should be able to handle the job, no problem. This coral is not too bad. He does have quite a bit of health compared to other enemies you will have faced so far in the dungeon. However, he isn't overly strong. His attacks will not chip away too much of your health. Does have a couple AoE attacks you will want to watch out for. Either get out of the way or use a stun if you have it. However, it's probably going to be that you'll have to just move, as stuns don't really recharge that often. And because there's only probably going to be 1 to 2 people with a stun, there's a chance it will be down. But anyways, carry on and kill him. Again, it shouldn't be too much of a strain as long as you got a good tank and a good healer. Open up your treasure coffer there at the end. You should get a nice piece of loot. And then hit the switch and proceed through the cave, and we will see you in a few moments. Alright, so once you get a little farther in after the coral fight, you will encounter some new enemies. Now keep in mind again, enmity is going to be an issue. And you're going to see something here, though. I go down. Death to me. Unfortunately, my healer did not notice my health plummeting down like that. Things happen. Not a huge deal. So what you want to do, in this case, since this dungeon is so low, it's not worth waiting to get raised up or anything. So what you will want to do is, in the event of any death, just hit OK to return to the beginning of the dungeon, basically. And once you pop up here, you'll notice this glowing thing right in front of you. Go up to it, and that's actually a shortcut. It will take you to an area, certain checkpoints along the dungeon. In this case, it will take us to where we fought the Coriol. You'll go there, and you'll be able to catch up with your allies very quickly, assuming they did not die. In this case, we managed to fight through even without me, and carry on. Once you get past these guys, you'll be facing these enemies again and again. A group of dogs or a couple NPCs, or not, well, enemies, pirates basically, with dogs. There'll be various mixtures, but it will be this similar composition going forward. However, right after these ones, before you even get to fight any more kind of random pirates, you're gonna prep for a boss fight real quick. Make sure going into any of these boss fights you have all your buffs. You can see me right here. I'm asking for my protect buff back from the mage, because upon death you do lose that protect buff, so I had to get a new one. Now these fights here against the pirate leader are going to be very tough because of the lack of enmity control. Again, if you're a marauder, you only have the one AoE skill, so you're going to want to try to use it as often as you can. Even though it's really high on the TP cost, it will help you control all the enmity. It's not perfect, but it is a solution. Otherwise, you're going to want to attack one of the two weaker pirates first. Try your best to keep the leader on your character, or whoever's tanking, I should say. But again, that's going to be very difficult. So you're just going to have to try your very best and hope things work out. Use stuns if you have them. Obviously, if you can buy time with stuns, that's good. Any sort of defense buff here is also very good. But you should be able to get through at least this group fairly easily. There is only the three of them, the two weaker pirates and the captain. Once you get to the captain, you only need to get him down to about 50 to somewhere between 50 and 25%. Once he gets down so low, he will just run away. Bit of a coward, does not want to stay and fight, he wants to get out. So you will only have to get him down to a certain extent. So in the event that the situation looked very hairy from before, just know that you don't actually have to completely kill this pirate to proceed, and there he goes. With that said, you're going to be fighting off a few groups of pirates and so on for the next little bit, so we will see everyone in a few moments. So eventually you will come to this large room, plenty of pirates to be slain. If you are kind of going for a completionist run, you will want to clear out all the side rooms. There are a couple, one of which does have a treasure coffer. However, if you're just looking to motor through this dungeon as quickly as you can, you want to find these specific pirates. These are the ones that are going to have the key that you need to get into the captain's quarters, so go up to them and start, you know, doing what you adventurers do best. They will fall down in short order, and you will be able to pick up the key. And, come on, hurry up, guys. We could take them out real quick. A little bit of health, let's just kill them and get this just there. There we go. So we got them gone. And once you got that, just go forward. The captain's quarters happen to be right here, so the guy with the key should probably move further away in the future. However, kill these two guards, and after that you will proceed into the captain's quarters. Again, these guards aren't going to be anything special. There's only the two of them. Try to keep enmity or hate on your tank, but again, don't be surprised if your healers accidentally pull it. You got to remember, in these dungeons, if you're playing a healer, if you're playing a DPSer, you don't want to do too much of a good thing. Too much damage is going to draw hate away from your tank. Too much healing is going to draw the hate onto you. Now, obviously, you do want to keep people alive, so there's kind of that fine balance you will have to learn as you go on. But with the guards dead, you can now open the captain's quarters. So go walking inside, you'll find the captain. Fortunately, he is by himself, so engage him. The tank shouldn't have too much of an issue keeping hate. Single targets like this are much easier to control, so just pound on him as hard as you can. Apply your DOTs, your damage over time abilities. In this case, my Marauder also has a Lancer ability for slow, so I'm able to use the slow on him. I'm able to stun him. He does have, there you can see, a conal AoE, so make sure you avoid that, but otherwise he's not very hard. Probably about the same difficulty as the Coriol you fought earlier in the dungeon. With him gone, you will be able to grab his item. So after opening the door with the key you have found on the slain pirate leader, you will come to this spot. Another boss fight. Looks very familiar, and this time around there's going to be a lot more enemies, so when you engage them, keep that in mind. It's going to be very hard to keep them all controlled. At first there is only 3, but more enemies will come in throughout the fight. Now, when this happens, if you only have one tank or one melee class, it's going to be very tricky for you, because that one class, in this case me on Marauder, is going to have a very hard time keeping everyone's attention. However, if you have a couple Marauders, or a Marauder Pugilist, a tank Pugilist, frankly if you have any 2 melee classes, the best plan at this point is to have them split up to try to have kind of both of them balancing the enemies, trying to keep them off the mages, because you can see here the mages are going to draw a lot of ire from the enemies because the amount of heals they're going to be pumping out. And you can see the enemies starting to build up here. The best thing you can do is just don't let things fall apart. Remember your role. Try to keep the enmity on you if you're the tank. Use AoE abilities as your tank class to try to get everything looking at you. You can see I was able to do that using my Marauder's AoE attack. I've managed to grab the vast majority of the enemies. Well, I just have to... you have to put some trust in your teammates, your party members, that they can handle themselves. While you're tanking 3, 4, 5 enemies, they'll have to manage 1 or 2 by themselves. That's just... there's simply no way for you at this level to control everyone perfectly. But with that said, pound through these enemies. The dogs are probably the weakest ones, so once they pop up, you can take them out very quickly. Then take out the pirates, and then go on and take out the leader. So after that chaotic boss fight, you will have entered this room. It's a large room filled with pirates again, and depending how you want to play, if you're trying to complete the entirety of the dungeon, kill every single pirate, then go through slowly, picking away the pirates. They tend to be separated very nicely so that you'll only have to engage 1 or 2, maybe 3 at a time, and you'll be able to clear them all out, and you will get that XP. If, however, you're just trying to make a straight line for the boss, you want to hug the left wall. Kill a couple pirates that are in your path, but otherwise you can just completely ignore all the pirates on the right-hand side of this area, and just plow right through to the left-hand side. This will get you to the gate where there's 2 pirate guards. You'll kill them. Again, not being much of an issue. In fact, you can probably, if you're careful, as you saw, pull them 1 at a time, which just makes them basically a joke to kill. Once they're done, you're about to enter the final boss fight. So before doing that, make sure your protect is on, make sure any buffs that you have are on, food buffs or anything of that nature, make sure it's on. Also take a look at your skill timers. If you still have any skills that need to reset, like a 90-second stun or a 90-second buff, give it time to cool down, let it reach its cooldown before going in, and definitely confirm with all the party before going in. You don't just want to walk in and then find out someone's AFK or something, because once you're in, there is no going out. But with that said, we will approach the boss fight, and a brief little scene will occur, so I will hush up during this part. Oh, that Sahagin is very threatening. So what you want to do in this fight, one target, which is very nice. So get your tank, whoever that is, get him in there and generate all the enmity you can. It shouldn't be an issue to control this singular boss. However, this boss fight has a little, this boss has a little trick up his sleeve. There are 4 vents situated around the map. You could see one right now in the top left corner of the video currently. You can see a Lalafell is actually running to it right there. It's dead ahead, middle of the thing. What's going to happen is every 10 or 15 seconds or so, maybe a little longer, those vents are going to start bubbling. What you want to do is have your mages or have any ranged characters, basically. In this case, you can see the archer off in the distance. You want to have them keeping an eye on those vents. Anytime they start bubbling, they want to interact with the vent. This will prevent the other Sahagin from coming out. If you don't go to those vents and interact with them, more Sahagin will spawn into the fight. It's usually 2 at a time. So if usually there's 2 vents going, I should say. So basically, this fight can go from 1 to 3 to 5 and escalate very quickly if you are not careful. So make sure your allies in the party know about the vents. So if you have any ranged, whether it be the healers or the archer, any DPSers, it doesn't matter what their goal is. Overall, when they see those water vents come up, they have to close them. You don't want this fight to get out of hand. But other than that, this fight should be pretty simple. Any melee characters need to stay out of AoE range. Once you get the boss to about 20% health, feel free to use your limit break, which will have been charging up, possibly to level 2. In this case, you didn't see us use it, but if you use your limit break, especially the melee DPS limit break, is a very powerful single target attack. Can probably take them from 20% right down to dead in one go. With that, you will kill the final boss, and the dungeon will be complete. You'll get one more very fancy piece of loot, and you'll be able to leave. I hope this video helped you out a little bit, gave you an idea of what to expect through the Sastasha dungeon. Again, a mandatory dungeon for every person in the game. Does not matter where you start from or what class you are. And I thank you for watching, and we will see everyone next time.